Hello everybody, my name is Jennifer Maker. Today we are learning how to make an easy paper butterfly wreath on the Great Maker Show and Tell. Now when my family gets together for birthdays, we love to sit down and make crafts together. And yesterday we made these gorgeous paper butterfly wreaths, and they were wonderfully simple but oh so much fun. And it was also really easy for everyone to put their personal touch on their wreaths too. So to make a paper butterfly wreath, you need some butterflies, these, a wreath form of some sort, and hot glue. I have several different paper butterflies on my blog, including these vintage style butterflies, which is primarily what we're going to use for this project. Now, to make these paper butterflies, you'll need some white cardstock and a color printer, and then a way to cut them out, of course. Now you can just print them from the PDF that I prepared and then use scissors to cut them out, or you can use the print then cut feature on your Cricut cutting machine. And I'm going to show you how to do both in this tutorial. As for wreaths, we use both the grapevine wreaths and the styrofoam wreaths. Now if you go with a styrofoam wreath, I recommend that you wrap it with strips of material in whatever color and style you want. It makes it look really cool, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do that quickly and easily in this tutorial as well. After that, it's really just a matter of folding the butterflies in half and then putting them on your wreath in different directions. You can cover your whole wreath like I did with this one, or just place your butterflies in specific areas, like on this one. It's really up to you. There are so many different ways to do this. You can even add extra things like paper flowers and ribbons and bows. Feel free to get creative. And when you're all done, I recommend that you spray your wreath with a UV resistant clear matte sealer so your pretty paper butterflies don't fade in the sun. So let's head on over to my blog at jennifermaker.com so I can show you where to get the free butterfly files, and then I will explain how to print and then cut them. So to get my free butterfly files, head on over to jennifermaker.com. Now the tutorial for this project is on my blog, but where you want to go are the libraries. And once you click on that, you have the option to get a password to the library or go ahead and enter it. And once you're inside the library, just enter the password that you get in the email right there in the password box. And you'll want to search for the vintage butterfly files. Currently, it's at the top of my list. Once you find it, click it and it'll download to your computer, and then you can open and unzip the file. And you'll see that inside there is a PDF file as well as 2 PNG files. Now, the PDF file can be printed and cut, which you see right here, and you would just go ahead and print it out in your color printer and cut it out with scissors or an X-Acto knife. But there's a better way, of course. I prefer to use a Cricut cutting machine because it can cut all of the shapes out so much faster than we can do with scissors or a knife. So I'm going to show you how to use the Cricut print then cut feature to do this with these butterflies. So head on over to Cricut Design Space and click on New Project. Then click Upload and Upload Image, and then Browse. And you're going to want to find one of those 2 PNG files that were in the file archive that you downloaded from my blog. There's 2 files, 2 different styles of vintage butterflies. Pick the one that you like best. Use both. Use one or the other. Now, once you bring it in, just like this, you're going to go ahead and just save it as a print then cut image. It is all ready to go. You don't need to do anything to it. It's even the proper size because on Cricut you have a size limitation for print then cut, which as I recall is 6.75 inches by 9.25, and it's all done for you with these files. So you don't have to worry about it. So you just import them. Make sure you're choosing complex when you bring them in. Your background is already all ready to go, and just go ahead and save that. Once you have both of those files uploaded to Cricut Design Space, you're going to put them onto your canvas. So select both of them over there. And I forgot to get the second one, so I'll grab that one too. You can do 2 at the same time. And we'll drag this over so that we can see both. And so there are both sets of the butterflies. Again, you can use whichever ones you want. All you have to do at this point is click make it. You don't have to change the size. You could make them smaller. You can't make them bigger, but they're already exactly the size that you want for wreath. They're perfectly sized. And you'll note there's 3 different sizes of each butterfly because I thought the size variations looked really good on the wreaths. So go ahead and click make it, and it takes you on over to the preview page. Note this black outline. You want that to be there. That needs to be there for calibrating the Cricut so it makes sure it cuts out in the right spot. All right, so the next step after you've connected to your machine up there at the top is to print your butterflies. So you're going to want to click on the send to printer, the green button there over on the left. A box will pop up. Make sure add bleed is selected, and I like to use system dialog so I can control the quality. Now note that if you use the system dialog, it's actually going to show up behind your window. So you'll need to move your browser window so that you can see your dialog box. Move that quality all the way over to best or however it works for your printer, and then go ahead and send it. And it will print out with that black border, which is just what we want. And while it's printing, you can make sure that your materials are set properly. Now I am using cardstock, so you might want to just use your medium cardstock option, but I actually have a 110-pound cardstock that I'm using. So I've created a custom material for these called heavy cardstock. Now, if you don't have this in here, because after all, I made this, click on materials settings down there at the bottom, and then you can create your own customized material, which is really what you're going to want for something like 110 pounds. So let me show you the settings that I'm using for this. I have 305 pressure, cutting twice with the fine point blade. So if you'd like to do that, go ahead and add that in there, and then you can select it once you've added it in there, and it'll show up under my materials. Of course, you might need to experiment with this to get just the right setting for your paper, but this is what worked for mine. And I always change my pressure to more. I always do that. All right, so let me show you how to cut these out. So here is the white cardstock, and there's my printer, and I'm just going to go ahead and put that right into the tray at the bottom, and it's going to, I've already sent it from my Cricut to my printer, so now it's going to print for me. Now I recommend that you do at least 1 sheet of each of the sets of butterflies, or if you're only going to use 1 set, use 2. Once it's printed, as you can see, we've got that black border all the way around. We definitely want that to be there. And because I set it to bleed, the edges of the butterflies have a sort of shading around them so that when it cuts out, it cuts out within the image rather than leaving a white border, which I really prefer. And that's why I recommend that you set it to bleed. Now it's important you put your butterflies in the right orientation on your mat. So you'll want to refer to how it was printed, in Cricut Design Space to make sure the butterflies are in the right orientation. But basically, if you match it up to how I'm doing it here, it should work out just fine. Once it's in there, press that mat up against those guys and click the load button. Press the load button. Note that I have my fine point blade in there, and once that Cricut button starts to flash, you press it and it draws the mat in, and it will immediately start looking for those calibration lines, that black border around your printed paper. And you'll see that there's a light that comes on, and what it's doing is it's checking to see where each of those lines are so that when it cuts properly. Now, if you have any issues with print then cut, because it can be tricky, I recommend that you come on over to my blog and look for the tutorial on this, because I have a link on how to fix print then cut issues. Typically, issues will be related to the color of your paper. You really need to use white paper. They may be related to the lighting in your room. If your room is too dim, it's really hard for it to pick up those sensor lines, those calibration lines. There's a number of other things that you can do as well to make sure that print then cut works. I think print then cut is an amazing feature, and I highly recommend it. There's just so many things that you can do with it. So it's worth your time to figure out how to do it with your Cricut. It really, really does open up a world of possibilities to you. Now, again, remember I set my material settings to cut twice so that we get all the way through the 110-pound cardstock. Yours might not need to be done that many times. And so it might be able to cut this a little faster. But I mean, I can't cut this faster with a pair of scissors than my Cricut. And my Cricut is so precise. I just love my Cricut. All right, once that's all done, go ahead and click the unload button and you'll see you've got your awesome butterflies. They're all ready to go and you can just lift off the sheet and your butterflies are left on the mat, ready for you to remove and start working on your project. So let's head on over to my light box. Now we'll show you how to create this paper butterfly wreath. Now, when you remove your butterflies, I recommend that you flip your mat over and bend your mat up and away, just as I'm doing here. As you can see, those butterflies almost lift off the mat themselves when you do it this way. You won't tear things or curl your paper or anything. It's just so much easier to do it this way. And once you've got all of your butterflies off, it's time to get that wreath out. Again, we could use a grapevine wreath or a styrofoam wreath or goodness, anything you want. You could create your own wreath from cardboard, anything. So I have here 4 sheets of butterflies. I did lots of extras so we could do some extra projects. Again, I recommend 2 sheets of butterflies at the very minimum for a wreath. So here is our grapevine wreath. I think this is a 16 to 18 inch wreath that I'm using. And before you start applying your butterflies, you'll want to add any ribbon or cording or decorative elements like perhaps leaves or something that you want to have under the butterflies. You want to put that on first. I'm just going to wrap a simple pink cord around my grapevine wreath just to bring out those spring colors that I really like. It's very simple. All I'm just going to do is tie it at the end here. In this spot that I tie it at, I'll also put a bow here, so I'm not really worried about there being a knot there. All right, so now we get to put butterflies on. And it's so fun because it's so easy. All you do is fold them in half just like this. And then you get your hot glue gun and you put glue right on the back, right where the body of the butterfly would be, right along the edge there where you folded. And just to put a line of hot glue, and then you place it on your wreath. Now, of course, this is a bundle of twigs essentially, so you want to be careful about where you place it. Make sure you're placing it right on a branch or a stick or something, so it actually is sticking to something. But other than that, there's not a lot. There's no big secret to this. I do like to do the bigger butterflies first. Remember, there's 3 sizes, a big, a large, a medium, and small. If you do the large ones first and space them out and then fill in with the medium and small ones, you're more likely to kind of get an even appearance. You'll also want the butterflies going in different directions, different angles, so that it looks more natural. If you like, you may, of course, do it any way you want. That is the beauty of creating something yourself. But if you want to do it the way I did it, I just took the large size of each different style and I spread them out around the wreath, pointing in different directions. And then once I'd had the big ones in, I went in and added the medium and the smaller size. And that's really it. It's really fun. I love it because it's just so simple. It's just, you just fold and glue. And then you put the butterflies wherever you want them to go. They don't even have to be on the front face of your wreath. You could have them on the inside edge or the outside edge, which would certainly look more natural. I mean, if butterflies were actually landing on this wreath, they would be all over it, wouldn't they? They wouldn't be just on the front. You may do whatever you like to do. This project, for me to put the number of butterflies that I put on this wreath, I think it was only 10 minutes. So really, you're probably going to be spending more time cutting out your butterflies than actually putting them on your wreath. The nice thing is that it really doesn't take long at all. This project could be done in an hour or 2, and it can be put on your front door or over your mantle or wherever you want it to be really quite quickly. These are my favorite kind of projects. They're not fussy, and yet when you're done, they just look so awesome. I'm planning to put this wreath on my front door, and I'm going to make a couple others to put in other places around because it's spring. So here's the wreath all done. I'd like to add a bow and cover up that knot there in the corner. And so I need to take off a butterfly there that's going to be in the way. But other than that, all I'm going to do is just take some ribbon that has the wired edge, so allow me to shape it. Go ahead and put a knot there. Now, my trick for making bows that look good is to actually turn them upside down when I make them, and then the tails are coming out the bottom when I do it that way, and it always looks good. So I just turn my bows upside down, and then I can get them looking just the way I want. And because they got the wired edge, you can form and fluff up your bow and it'll stay in place. I love that about those. And then put a bit behind the butterfly, and there we go. There's our bow, and there's our finished wreath. This is going to look fabulous on my front door. I'll have to show you a picture. Now, if you'd like to make one with styrofoam, I recommend that you just rip off strips of cotton. If you rip them off, then you're less likely to have fraying, right? Or you could use pinking shears, of course, if you prefer. But you can just tear it, right? And remove that extra little threads there. And then just wrap it around your styrofoam just like this. I like doing this because it's super quick and easy, and you can pick really cute patterns and colors in the cotton aisle at the fabric store. Usually it's in the quilting section. Like this is a springtime robin's egg blue with polka dots. I mean, come on. How cute is that? It's perfect for spring. So when you get to the end, you're just going to use a little bit of hot glue and just press the edge down. Be careful not to burn yourself. Just press that right down there. I need a little bit more, so I just tore off a second strip, and all I'm doing is wrapping it around. It's that simple. You pull as you're wrapping, and it conforms to the curve a little better as you do it. You can have multiple layers, you can get creative, but this is my favorite way to use a styrofoam wreath form, so that you have the convenience of the styrofoam, but you don't have to worry about covering it up in another unusual way. Okay, so at this point, we just put some butterflies on whatever way you want. One tip is, if you're not quite sure where you want your butterflies to be, just place them on before you glue them down, and then you can rearrange things to suit your taste, right? Before you actually adhere them. And it's also kind of fun to do. Now, you can put them all over just like I'm doing here, or you could sort of congregate them into one section. My sister did this when we did our wreaths yesterday, and I really liked it. I thought it was a great idea. I think that this would look particularly cute if the butterflies were all like on one side and the bow was on the other. So that's all I'm going to do. This is a very small wreath, as you can see, about, I think it's 8 inches. I'm going to put a bow right there. I have a yellow striped one that I think will look really cute. And in this case, I'm going to create the bow first and then just glue it right on. And then I can, put it right where I want it to be. It doesn't have to be tied around it at all. And just a little bit of hot glue on the back of that bow, right in place. And this is also a wire edged ribbon, so again, I can shape it. I think that this bow would look really cute with a little butterfly right on the bow. So I'm just going to glue that right on there, just like that. Maybe the blue one would look better, I think. Match the blue of the wreath itself. Yep, so just press and hold it right on the bow. And it's really, really very simple. When you're all done with your bows, you're going to want to spray this UV resistant clear matte sealer over the whole thing. And it's going to help keep your butterflies from fading in the sun. Especially if you're putting this on your front door, you're definitely going to want that. And you definitely want matte. So butterflies aren't glossy. So you just spray the whole thing and let it dry, and you're good to go. This is the one my sister made, so you see how she kind of put them all in one corner like this. And this is another one that I made for my craft room. This is the wreath that hangs above my mantle that you see in all the videos. And I removed the white poinsettias from it because it's not winter anymore. And I put these blue ribbons on and yellow and white butterflies. See how easy that is? I think these butterflies are just so easy to make and to decorate with. And of course, you don't have to stop with wreaths. The butterflies would look amazing on cards, gifts, shadow boxes, signs. If you can think of it, you can do it. And of course, this project makes for an excellent group activity as everyone gets to make their own wreath in their own way. And it's also a really good beginner project because it's really just folding and gluing. Now, if you have any questions at all about making this paper butterfly wreath, please leave a comment below this video or post over in my Facebook group at jennifermaker.com/cricketcrafters. And that's it for today. Remember, if you can tell me what you want to make, I can show you how to make it. Until next time.